Real talk.
My soul's saying that you just blew your mind.
It seems so obvious that that's what is happening.
It's so possible that your head is spinning like a top.
Industries that may be influenced by the NASA research on UAPs, and if so, how so?
This is Rooted Frequency. Real talk.
The truth shall set you free.
Today is one of our Real Talk segments, and I felt the need to discuss quote-unquote spiritual people, because as a spiritual community, we are ever evolving, and a lot of times there are hot buzzwords. It's the popular thing that all of the spiritual people are talking about at that moment. So you're inundated with these things in your face, whether it be ads for different shows, books, movies, podcasts. And on the one hand, I, as a truther or conspiracy theorist, I like to always be like, why is this in my face all the time? But also I want to look at it and learn and see if people are onto something. What is it about this that is holding their attention and making them interested? So today, like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about spiritual people. And I had said, quote unquote. The reason I put it like that is because not everyone is the type of spiritual person that I want to A, learn from, and B, associate with. For example, when I was a kid, I was Catholic, and then we switched to another religion, and I found that a lot of people who threw their Christianity in your face or talked about it all the time were the most judgmental and excluded certain groups from the church or looked down at them. One thing I felt in my heart from a young age was, wouldn't God, because God created us and loves us, wouldn't God want us to all love each other and just kind of focus on ourselves? Because most of the choices other people make will not affect us. Now, I'm not talking about judging an individual based upon trauma that you may have experienced with someone who has darkness within them. That's a whole other subject. And right now, I would like to stay focused on people judging people whom they don't know and judging them based upon their life choices. I'm not here to put my beliefs on anybody, and I'm not here to try to convince anybody of anything. But I will share that it was very clear to me, again, from a young age, that what someone else does shouldn't matter to you. So why all the hate? To me, hate is exactly what the darkness and the devil would want us to feel. And when that darkness continues to overcome, that's when evil can trick people and start to sneak in, and people become more and more dark inside and need to ideally be self-aware enough that you can feel this change coming on. I often tell people when we are doing spiritual work and they are concerned with darkness coming in with things that they're doing. That intention is so important because, yes, darkness exists. Light exists. Darkness exists. So the devil likes to trick, and darkness can disguise itself. But we've all been given that little voice, that discernment inside that tells us when something is masquerading. We can tell deep down what is right and what is wrong. The people that veer off course and keep going down that road, I believe that's when it becomes harder to discern. You kind of lose that discernment. You are more apt to believe the illusion and the trickery. So then that hatred and judgment grows. So when I was younger and I saw quote unquote Christian people who were some of the meanest people that I had ever encountered, and then you could come across someone who had never even been introduced to religion through their family their entire life and never went to church, never looked at a Bible, never read anything spiritual at all. And some of them were just the most kind-hearted, loving people I had ever met. I have a hard time believing that that person who happened to not be raised with the church, raised with God, and was never baptized, how on earth could that person be punished and go to eternal damnation for the rest of their lives? That just didn't make sense to me. And if that were in fact the truth, then that was a God I did not want to worship. That being said, the reason I bring this up is that this is a common thing that a lot of people go through, either in their teens or in college years maybe. And for me, it was like this. I did not want to be associated with organized religion, and I was instead spiritual. And I remember when I was in college that the world kind of looked at that as people who were lost, or they were trying to fit a trend. But I think that it was a change that kind of needed to happen for me along my pattern of growth. I needed to experience a push away from organized religion and an embrace of spirituality to find what I truly believed in. This is a journey for everyone. And that the biggest thing is being honest about it and not being afraid to say something like that. I'm sure someone out there turned this podcast off and was like, oh, she's some anti-God person and is trying to make us all hate church. No. Hopefully you stuck with me this far. At this point in my life, I, like I said, do a lot of spiritual mentorship. I have done a full circle in my thinking, and I am now able to reintroduce higher power without being, I guess, triggered or afraid to say Jesus or God. And I just want to bring these things up because I think that depending on where you are in your journey, that it's all the right thing, as long as everything is done with the right intention. Now, what's the right intention? Well, I don't think it's as complicated as people want it to be. It really is as simple as closing your eyes and seeing where that energy radiates from. We can feel when our intentions come from a place of love. We can feel when our intentions come from a place of growth, of I'm simply doing what I need to do to elevate and get to the best version of me. And I believe that God's cool with that. Because God is this all-seeing, all-knowing, all-understanding energy, right? So for me, God feels like whenever I am most filled up with light and love. And I think that people have sort of tuned out because of so many people who love yoga and people saying like, with love and light all the time. And people roll their eyes kind of. But if people truly mean that, you can feel it. And like anything else, there's always going to be ego everywhere you go. And that's what it comes down to. People wanting power. So life really boils down to a battle within you between ego and soul. Now, ego is strongly tied to our human form. So you're never going to fully cut off your ego. Even if you're a Buddhist monk, and that's always my go-to, because if you go to the mountains and you're all alone, you're cutting off all those triggers, right? Normally it's triggers that are going to make ugly things rear their heads, like jealousy, anger, feeling that you're not good enough, things like that. Even the Buddhist monk, I believe, still has his ego. The difference is you're keeping it in check. So when my ego pops in, I am very, very self-aware. I am aware of all of that darkness. I know when these other versions of Tiffany pop up, and I might be envious of someone's vacation as I'm working all the time, and someone's jet setting and getting to go fabulous places. That's okay. And I always tell everyone that is okay. What is not okay is letting that jealousy sort of marinate within the body. Because that's when, again, we radiate dark energy and you're opening up opportunity for more darkness to come in, to become more and more jealous, then to become hateful. And we all know people like that. We all know a person who, in their mind, just a gossip. And they are completely unaware, not self-aware at all, that the words that come out of their mouth are dripping in negativity and darkness. So the darkness is sneaky. Because I'm sure if you think of that person who's the biggest an energy vampire, they exhaust you at the end of the day. Well, that's because they are filled with dark energy. Not to mean that they are demonic or something, but dark energy is within us all, and the key is balance and self-awareness. So when I feel my little jealousy pop up, I make a point to switch it. And I look and I say, you know what? Good for them. Good for them for going on their vacation. That looks fabulous. I look forward to a vacation in my future. And you don't even have to mean it. That's the great thing. You can acknowledge that that's happening correct it, state something positive, and I promise you that when you do it enough, it's like at some point your actual energy behind what you're saying has to catch up to belief. So you reach a point where you honestly are not envious of people on vacation. That you're scrolling through your Instagram and you say to yourself, that's so great. I'm so happy for all of these people that I know, my friends, that looks so fun. And you genuinely feel happiness and light for them. That is possible to feel. Is it easy to do this work? No. Self-work is difficult. And it's something that, unfortunately, it's not like going to work and clocking in and clocking out and then you can forget about it. It's something that you have to do all day long because, again, it's training your self-awareness to your triggers, to those things within your ego that pop in a little darkness. So to bring this back to what I began speaking about, quote unquote, spiritual people, I'm noticing that same icky feeling that I am getting from a lot of spiritual gurus that I speak with. And the good news is I was able to identify it immediately. I don't need to go through that soul work and that soul training again. It's not going to need me to go down some 10-year-long journey where I dismiss spirituality and then come back around to it. Instead, I now see that those people, unfortunately, are lost. They are not self-aware. They are not seeing that their spiritual teachings that are coming out of their mouth are dripping with negativity and leave people on the other end of that conversation feeling bad. So, I guess if I can leave you with anything from this little chat, this real talk we've had, it's that I hope that you don't dismiss an entire movement or religion or group because of experience with one person or your perception of them through social media, because that does happen a lot. We kind of have an idea of who people are through social media. And we all know that social media is not real, and people are only showing a particular version of themselves. So, if you are feeling a pull to explore something more, to be of service to your community, to the world, to leave an imprint, to grow, I hope you can kind of spiritual guru shop, if you will. Just like how they tell you to doctor shop. You need to find someone that vibes with you, someone that meshes. There's a million spiritual podcasts. You can go to YouTube and type in keywords, and you'll know within 30 seconds if somebody doesn't resonate. Because the things they're saying are making you feel icky. That's the best way I can describe it. Or it feels sales pitchy. That's huge right now, especially on Instagram. Everybody wants you to give them thousands of dollars for their expert spiritual advice, to go through their training programs, to have them help you elevate and ascend. And while I am not dismissing mentorship by any means, because I have 2 spiritual mentors that I work with very closely for myself, I just had to find the right ones. And yes, I'm paying them for their time. But it doesn't feel in any way, shape, or form like I'm being taken advantage of. I don't feel icky. I don't feel like they're trying to sell me anything. But instead, I know that they are there. I have one for like business. She mentors me on spiritual business directions and ideas. And I always feel so amazing after our chats. And I also have a mentor just for me spiritually, and gives me readings, tarot readings, energy clearings, but this is somebody who deeply resonates with me again. And I think the key is I feel good after this session. I have in the past paid people thousands of dollars to go through different programs and kind of felt, why did I spend all this money? What am I getting out of this? This is stuff that I could Google and realize myself. So look within yourself to really see if a program resonates. There's really good ones out there, and also amazing spiritual advisors that can help you through your various stages. I believe everyone is a mentor, and depending on where you're at in your spiritual journey, there's someone that you yourself can help and offer advice for what they're going through. And there's someone who has just gone through what you're going through. So if you are searching right now for someone to help you, like you feel a little bit stuck in your journey and even lost, start looking for communities around you. Start Googling spiritual mentors. Most of them will do Zoom sessions with you. And listen to podcasts. That's actually how I found my 2 mentors, was their podcast just resonated with me. I could feel their authenticity as they spoke to me. So that's a great way, or by like reading a book or something. But don't feel like you have to go through this alone, and don't dismiss all mentor relationships because of the people on Instagram. I'm trying to find the right words to explain them, but you feel it when people are being real flashy about how much money as a yoga instructor or spiritual mentor that they made in a month, and how they can help you to make those 6 figures. It doesn't feel right. I'm not saying we can't strive to have the nice things. There's nothing wrong with that. However, those should be a side effect, a really nice side effect of expanding our joy from within and loving what we do. When you have true joy and you are shining brightly, people can see that. People are drawn to you. This joyous frequency is what gets us closer to becoming our highest version of ourselves. And it's the secret to everything. So, my lovelies, pay attention to the little voice inside. Find people who resonate with you. People who feel authentic to you. People who light you up and help you feel like you are actually on a path to becoming the happiest, healthiest, most joyous, beautiful version of you, this highest self version. They're out there. You just have to search for them. And just because someone is, again, a quote-unquote guru or has millions of followers or says they're making millions of dollars in their work a year does not mean that they know what they're talking about. And it does not mean that they are authentic in wanting to help you ascend in your spiritual journey. So just be aware of that, because you should, again, feel that ickiness in your gut when it feels more like a sales pitch than someone who actually loves doing this and really wants others to experience that joy, that level of satisfaction in their life, and that light that shines when you are truly living your purpose. It's possible for you. It's out there. Good luck on your spiritual journey, and I'll see you on the next episode of Rooted Frequency.